This video is constructing triangles and it's going to teach us how to construct different types of triangles. It also corresponds with the interactive notebook page, Constructing Triangles. Now at the top of that page, you'll see there's QR codes leading you to some videos and some step-by-step instructions. This video is just meant to be a tutorial with a voiceover to give you a little bit more feedback. So example number 1 is asking you to construct equilateral triangle ABC. And it's very important to remember what an equilateral triangle is. An equilateral triangle has 3 congruent sides. So here they gave us one of those sides, AB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my compass and I'm going to put the point of my compass on one end, which is A. Mine's kind of a large dot, so I'm going to put it right in the middle, but on your paper it should be smaller. And I am going to open my compass until I'm in the center of B here. Okay, so now that I have my compass set, I am going to draw an arc. Now remember, my point is at A, so every point on my arc is going to be the same distance from A that B is. So you swing your arc up, so any point on that arc will be the same length as AB. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing from the opposite side. I'm going to move my point of my compass to B. You can go ahead and make sure with your measurement, but it shouldn't have changed, right? It should still be the same length. And you're going to swing the arc from this side. So one from either side. So any point on the red arc is the same distance that A is from B, and every point on the blue arc is the same distance that B is from A. But the point that they have in common, let's mark up here, is their point of intersection. So I'm going to put a little point here where they cross, and let's go ahead and label that. So let's insert some text, and we're going to put a C here. It doesn't matter what you call it. Oh, I guess in this case it does because it's triangle ABC, right? So that is my third point. The last step is to just use a straight edge to connect A to this point C and B to this point C here. That's equilateral triangle ABC. Very, very simple. If anything, it's almost like half of a perpendicular bisector, right? All right, let's take a look at another example. And just to note, you don't have to write this on your paper. This is just for us. But all 3 sides, so side AC, side CB, and side AB are all congruent or of equal measure because this triangle, like we said, is equilateral. Okay, now for example number 2, they gave us this triangle below, and they want us to create triangle CDE. So they want us to copy the triangle, okay? So what we're gonna do is, since they didn't give us any letters here, I'm gonna go ahead and add some letters in just to make our life easier. I'm gonna make it A, I'll make this N, right? And I'll make this, I don't know, P, right? Nice and easy. Just so I can talk about where my points are. You can do the same on your paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my first line segment. So I'm going to call this point down here. I'm going to make a point, right? I'm going to put it down here and we can call this, let's say we'll call this C. So A is going to go to C. So let's put in this text here. We're going to call this point C. Okay, we need CD to be the same length as AP, right? So I'm going to measure how long AP is. So I'm going to elongate my compass all the way out to here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to swing an arc. So I'm going to swing a nice little arc to show the person grading my paper that I did measure that distance. Then I'm going to move my compass down here and swing an arc as well. Okay. So remember, it doesn't need to be the same orientation, which means it could be like a little slanted, it could be turned around a little bit, but any point on here can be my new point. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark this. Let's see, let's make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to put this here and I'm going to mark this with my new point D. So this is my new P, but we're calling it D because that's what they wanted us to name our triangle, right? So just to color code, right? Just because the letters are changing, A became C and P became D. All right, I'm going to go ahead and connect these with a straight line. So now I have a line segment CD, which is the same length as AP. So I can go ahead and put that in here if I wanted to. this line segment here is the same length as here, right? Now, this is where things get a little crazy with the arcs. In order to measure, and I know that you guys can't do this, but I'm going to take all of this and just move it down here to give myself a little bit more space. Now I'm going to measure my next side. I'm going to go from A to N, right? So let's see, I'm going to shrink this a little bit. Let me see if it'll cooperate. Yeah, so now my pen is on N, and I can go ahead and do another measurement arc to show that I measured, right? Let me just change the color of that real quick. I'm going to do another measurement arc right there just to show. Now I'm going to move my point of my compass to the corresponding point. So from A, my orange A, I'm going to move it to my orange C. And I'm going to draw an arc. Okay, so N has to be somewhere on that arc. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but from P. I'm going to put the point of my compass on P. I'm going to measure how far N is from P. I'm going to draw a little measurement arc, right? Notice how they cross up there. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to move the point from my green P to my green D, and we are going to swing that arc down here. Okay? Notice that they both cross right here. So just as they crossed in the original diagram, they cross down below here. Let me just make this point a little bit bigger. Too big. Make it a little bit smaller. Just right, right? So that point there is now going to be my new N, right? But in this case, they wanted us to label it E. So I'm just going to go ahead and color code that for you as well. So this point N is now this point E. Now I can go ahead and use my straight edge just to connect everything the way that I need to, right? And I know that this line here, let me just make it a little bit smaller, AN, I'm going to give that 2 marks, is congruent to this line here. And this line here, NP, 1, 2, 3, is congruent to ED. Right? And then it asks me what kind of triangle this is. Now I can use my compass to measure. Like if I take a measurement with my compass of ED, and then I go to CE over here, are they the same measure? They're not, right? CE is definitely longer than ED, and I can do that all the way around. So what that means is that none of these sides are the same. I don't feel confident labeling this based on an angle. It does look like an obtuse triangle, but I really wouldn't feel confident saying it's obtuse. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that this is a scalene triangle. Okay, and I'm not going to label it based on its angles because I just don't feel confident. E looks obtuse, but I would really need more information to feel super confident about it. So I'm just going to call it a scalene. So this has been a video to show you how to construct triangles. Please remember that at the top of your interactive notebook page, there's also a QR code that will walk you through equilateral triangles.